Google reviews are one of the most important things that you can focus on for your law firm. In fact, I talk to lawyers all the time, and a lot of lawyers that aren't really exactly sure what they should put their focus on, what they should put their energy in. Some lawyers don't even have a big budget. They say, what should I focus on? And the number one thing I tell everyone they should focus on is they should focus on reviews. Reviews are so important that I even wrote an entire book called 5-Star Attorney about Google reviews, right? So if you want to learn more about even more than what I'm going to talk about today, then go to getlawfirmreviews.com and get a copy of 5-Star Attorney, because that book covers everything I'm going to talk about, plus a lot more in much, much greater detail. Now, Bazaar Voice Network did a study a couple years ago, and they analyzed 57 million reviews. And what they found is that any business, it doesn't matter what industry, it doesn't matter where they're located, it doesn't matter any of that stuff. Every single type of business, once they hit 200 reviews or more, their revenue increases by 44%. Right? So if you made $1 million last year and you only had 15, 20 reviews, if you can get yourself to 200 reviews, then your revenue will increase by 44%. And next year you'll make $1.44 million, right? That alone is reason to get your butt in gear and start getting some reviews, right? That is one reason alone that we need reviews. But the second reason is social proof. Everybody knows that social proof is really, really important. So every time you go to Amazon, if you're like me, one of the biggest decisions in determining if you're going to make a purchase or not always comes down to the reviews, right? I mean, we're in a social world. Everybody uses reviews now. Now, the third reason is increasing your Google rankings, right? Now, this is something people don't realize. Google relies on 3 factors to rank your law firm in the Google 3-pack, in the Google Maps, right? Now, the first factor that they use is proximity to the searcher. How far away are you from the person who is searching, right? Now, that's probably the thing that you can impact the least, because short of picking up your law firm and moving it somewhere else, it's kind of difficult. Now, the second thing they use is prominence. That's why any good marketing company is going to help you build out all of your business listings, like your Yelp profile, your Avo profile, FindLaw, Justia, hg.org. And about, for our clients, for example, I think we have a list of like 55 or 60 different citations that we build out. And the reason we do that is because we're building prominence, right? So you've got proximity to the searcher, you've got prominence, and then the third Google ranking factor is relevancy. How relevant are you to the thing that people are searching for? Now, what's interesting about relevancy is that up to recently, Google used to use the name of the business as a really big ranking factor in terms of relevancy. That's why you would go to Google and you would search Baltimore personal injury attorney, and some business that was called Baltimore personal injury attorney would rank #1, even though they weren't even a real law firm and they didn't have any reviews or anything like that. It was this weird glitch in the system that Google could have easily fixed, but they just never fixed it, right? So about 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, so not too long ago, Google finally fixed the bug. And what they did is they shifted from having the business name pulling most of the relevancy to now pulling most of the relevancy from reviews. So the result is that now a lot of times people are having clients post reviews and the reviews aren't sticking. Well, that's because Google is being much more critical over the reviews because they're using the reviews for relevancy. And, one of the rules in marketing is that once you find something that works, marketers are going to just absolutely ruin it. So what ends up happening is now that marketers know that reviews are one of the things that's going to manipulate Google rankings, they're going to try to put fake reviews through, right? So Google is getting much more strict on the reviews that they'll actually let come through. So that's why if you've had a client who has said, I left a Google review, and maybe the review is even showing on their end, but it's not showing on your live Google profile, the reason why is because their trust factor on their personal profile is not high enough, right? So one of the best things you can do is make sure that when they're leaving you reviews, make sure that they're using an account that is not just an account that they just use to leave reviews. Make sure they have, they're using, they're active in the account. Maybe they have a Gmail account and Google Drive and stuff like that, right? So relevancy. So what are they looking for in relevancy? How does that work? Well, relevancy is how relevant are you to the search that is being performed. So if someone searches car accident lawyer and your entire profile is about DUI and criminal defense, well, that's not extremely relevant, right? But if you search car accident lawyer and you're a personal injury attorney, well, that's closer, right? So the way that they pull this relevancy is they look for words, phrases, keywords, synonyms that are all present in your reviews, right? So if you can get reviews that are written in such a way that have words, phrases, keywords, synonyms that are related to all of your practice areas, then what's going to happen is Google's going to see those words, phrases, keywords, synonyms, and they're going to rank you higher when those related search terms come up. These are known as latent semantic indexing keywords, right? LSI keywords. And it's basically it's a very fancy way to say they've got an algorithm, right? That's essentially what it is, where they expect to see certain words in different places. But the first question we have to ask ourselves is, why don't people leave Google reviews, right? Who here has ever had a client who you've asked for a Google review and they say, yeah, absolutely, I'll definitely leave a Google review, and then they just don't do it? There's a really great TED Talk. I have a theory about this, by the way. I'm not 100% sure this is right, but this makes a lot of sense to me, and I think this is why this happens, right? There's a TED Talk by a guy named Derek Sivers, and he gave a TED Talk called "Keep Your Goals to Yourself," right? And what he hypothesizes in his TED Talk is that when you have a goal, whether you're trying to quit smoking or lose weight or train for a marathon or whatever your goal is, right? If you have a goal, you should never tell anybody your goal. And the reason why is because when you tell somebody else those goals, your goal, what happens is your brain creates a social reality where it fires off all the endorphins and neurons and all that type of stuff in your brain that would occur had you actually achieved that goal. So when you say, I'm going to lose weight, people say, oh, that's fantastic, good for you. And then all of a sudden, that social reality happens, your brain, all those endorphins start firing, all those chemicals start going out. And all of a sudden you feel as if you achieve the goal. And because you have that great feeling of achieving the goal, now you are much less likely to achieve the goal. And I think that reviews are the same way. And here's why. When you ask somebody to leave them a review, there is literally nothing in it for them, right? The only thing that's in it for them is the positive feeling that they did something good for you, something nice for you, right? So you say, will you leave me a review? And they say, of course I'll leave you a review. You were an amazing attorney. You got me this great result, yada, 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 right? And then what happens is when they say yes, that social reality in their brain, the same one that happens when they tell somebody a goal, starts firing and all the neurons and everything. So they get that good feeling, and then they go home and the kids are screaming and they're cooking dinner and they don't know what their password is and all these different things. And all of a sudden your review gets pushed further in the back burner, right? I believe that that's why that happens, right? So the bottom line is that there's no incentive, right? They have no incentive, right? So we've got to figure out a way to have somebody incentivized for the review. Now, what I say is you should always have somebody incentivized. Now, obviously, so what I used to say, give out Amazon gift cards, right? Now you can't give out Amazon gift cards anymore. I understand that because actually, I guess you never could. But I understand that might not be ethical in some according to some bar associations, right? So even though that worked really, really, really well, I can't recommend that you do that, even though it worked really well, right? So, but what you can do is you can incentivize your staff. Right? You can incentivize your staff. There's got to be something in it for someone to make sure that the review gets posted, right? Every time they can get a review for a client, you give them $50 or $75 or $100 or something like that. Now, what's cool about that is you're paying for that one time. You're paying you're paying them one time. And especially if it's like an administrative assistant or like an executive assistant or something like that, that can really add up and be a nice addition to their paycheck. And it also gives them a sense that they're helping grow the law firm. So you're only paying them one time. You're improving company morale. But the cool part about this is that they get that review one time and you pay them one time, but that review is going to live for the next 5, 10, 15 years on your Google business profile. And it's going to continue making you money year after year after year after year, right? So it's an absolutely worthwhile investment for you to do that. And not only that, because there's actually incentive for them, you're much more likely to get the review.